Right on. That was a pretty professional little package you put together there, Joseph.
Yeah, I still have to make an outro though.
Yeah,
I've been saying that for a while, and I just haven't had time to
it's okay.
come up with something. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a kind of neat little preview of the stuff we got planned. We actually are going out of our way to do a full spooky October experience. And yeah, if you watch the opening package, we're going to be talking about some comics, some movies. We're going to be starting with movies tonight. But yeah, Joe, like you got some stuff loaded up. You want to go ahead and lay out for the people what might be in store in the near future?
Well, we've picked a few things. We'll probably be adding stuff on because we've been asking people like Cookie and the other people from the crew what they'd want to either talk about or watch or for spooky season. So, well, Cookie's choice was the one we're going to be talking about tonight, which is The Gate. We were supposed to do that last year, but I couldn't find a streaming service that I could rent it off of last year. Yeah. So this year was a different story, so able to do it this year. So we'll be talking about that tonight. For comics, we'll be talking about Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I think the trade just came out a couple weeks ago for this one. So we'll be talking about that in its entirety. What else did we do? We're going to pair, seeing as how Hellboy's dropped recently, we're going to do Hellboy in Mexico, and we're going to pair it with the House of the Living Dead because it's a continuation of that one shot. So we'll be talking about those two together, and we'll also be talking about another Hellboy book, which, nope, that's Mexico. Where is it?
Midnight Circuses are underneath. It's right here.
Just a bit lower. Oh, there you go. Midnight Circus. We'll be talking about that one. That's a fun little story, little one shot. I think it's like about 50, almost 60 pages long. So we'll be talking about that one. For movies or shows, we have that just dropped today. Salem's Lot. We'll be talking about that on October 12th, Saturday night on October 12th. Give people a chance to watch it. Then we'll have a discussion about it. And not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. Oh, for comics, I forgot one. We're going to throw in a little Big 2 action in there. We'll do Immortal Hulk because it has some sci-fi horror undertones to it. So we'll be talking about that one at some point. Another movie was The Gate. I think will be pretty heavy Hellboy spooky season. We'll be doing The Crooked Man, which I think is going to be dropping on October 7th, where you can purchase or rent. So we'll be hitting up the Hellboy movie as well, which most people that have seen it had said they've enjoyed it. So far from what I've seen on socials,
it's very good.
Yeah. So that's our rough first crop of stuff that should take us about halfway, 3/4 through the month, and we'll probably add some movies and stuff because a lot of stuff has dropped. I think another movie Cookie loves just dropped recently. I think this week is Strange Darling. I just watched another movie the other night called what was it I said? Last Straw. What's his name? Professor X McAvoy. James McAvoy, Speak No Evil, I believe is the name.
Yes.
I think that just dropped for rent. So there's some thriller, horror, slasher, suspense stuff that's coming out, newer stuff. So maybe we'll add one or two of those. Maybe we'll start. We're only doing one movie tonight, but I think maybe the next ones we'll maybe try to do double features or something like Salem's Lot, which is a lot newer. Maybe we'll have a lot more to talk about, seeing as how it's fresh. But we'll see. We'll see if we do double features, or if we'll just do like just one-off movies. So so that's kind of what we have lined up tentatively for the beginning of spooky season.
Yeah.
Oh, we have Luther Strode too. That was one of Johnny's picks for one of the comics we're going to read. We're supposed to do it on the 1st. I was like, yeah, we'll hit right off the 1st, and then I was kind of feeling crummy, so I was like, ugh. I was like, yeah, we'll push it. So we'll probably do that one this Saturday, actually, the Luther Strode episode.
Well, it's kind of one we've been planning on since you finally got the omnibus for it and and liked it. And we kind of kept getting pushed back, and now it's October. It's almost perfect time to talk about it. I mean, it's not completely horror, but it's gory enough to count. It's kind of more like a Miike movie. It's kind of an action horror, but It's gory enough to count as horror in my opinion.
Mhm.
So yeah, that and recently I started watching Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh,
I'm kind of indifferent towards it, man. Like some of them are okay, like some of them are just
Yeah.
sad. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
like sad horror. It's something it's got to kind of grow on me, I guess. Man, I'm not used to it, so.
I think that's the case with a lot of anthologies.
Yeah, it's
You
always
know,
hit or miss.
Yeah. Mm. How many
But
episodes have you gotten into?
I have 2 more. I have the one
Two more?
I have the one that Panos Cosmatos directed, and I don't know the last one, but like I'm really excited to see Panos's because I love Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy, so like I want to see like his third work of art.
Mhm.
And that's it. I'm kind of slack on horror this season, man. I got to catch up. I haven't really been watching too much.
Grotesquerie is running right now. The third episode just dropped tonight. So
The third one already dropped?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they did.
Very behind.
I think they dropped like a double drop. Like they dropped the first 2 right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the third one's out now. From is another kind of horror centric series. The third season just started. I think there's 2 episodes out of that, so people can go check that out if they want to change it up a bit. Watch a series mixed in with their movies for spooky season. You can hit those up. Those are newer shows that you can look into. Aside from that, I don't know if there's any other shows that are running that are kind of horror centric.
In Norton, it's going to be a pretty exciting month.
Stupid cat.
Oh, cool. I mean, like, if you want, I could throw the link in the chat, Chase. You could hop on with us if you've seen The Gate recently. I mean, it'd be a pretty fun conversation because, I'm not going to lie, man, this flick, it holds up really well. And I think it's because of the use of the practical effects and the really good stop motion that was involved in the film. Plus, I mean, I think that ever since Stranger Things come out, like I think stories in this vein are I don't know, kind of a lot more accepted than they were kind of they were kind of more passe, I think, before, like 80s nostalgia really hit its peak. But like I never realized like how hard of how much this one is one of the Stranger Things really leaned on, especially with the whole dynamic between the brother and sister and her like trying to be like, no, I'm a cool girl now, and then deciding that like, no, actually like launching rockets with my brother is kind of fun. You know what I mean? Beneath the gore and the really terrifying stuff, this movie's actually kind of almost a really touching like kids adventure film.
It is, yes.
Yeah, it like what is it rated? Was it rated like
PG-13?
PG-13? Okay. Yeah, because it seems like it's I don't know, I wouldn't give it a general, but I mean it's kind of, what would you say, Gremlins is more adult than this, or I think it's within the same realm, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, I Gremlins is a little more silly with the humor, where this is kind of it
pure
deals with
nightmare fuel.
The pure nightmare fuel. Like I said, there's the scene where like they hallucinate that the parents are home and the dad like melts in front of little baby Stephen Dorff, and like that traumatized me when I was a kid. Man, I could not deal with people melting. Like Emil and RoboCop, and then the dad in this. You've been bad.
You've been bad.
And yeah, like it twisted me out. But I think for older teens, it'll be a fun one to watch. You know what I mean? With older teens. But like I was really young. I remember watching this with my cousins, and like I said, a little bit traumatized. But that's the thing. Like the movies that scared the shit out of me when I was younger are the ones that I care so much about now that I'm older. You know, stuff like Hellraiser, the Elm Street movies, Phantasm. You know, like they became my favorite horror movies. I think because they were so traumatizing to me as a child.
No, I get that totally.
Cool. Yeah. Actually, to tell you the truth, the thing that scared me most in Gremlins was the story that she tells about her dad. Like that was actually the thing that twisted me out most when I was a little kid when I watched it, because I thought that was so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I was a weird kid.
It is pretty tragic, though.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah, I
people's
mean,
trauma is terrifying.
you got to get older, like to realize kind of the humor of Joe Dante and his like really dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, the melting and Raiders of the Lost Ark was pretty gruesome as well.
Yeah.
I just closed my eyes through that part. When Indiana Jones said "close your eyes," I just followed his
Mm.
his instruction when I was.
It's
a
like
kid.
instructions. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what I was thinking when I was rewatching this is that I find it hilarious that as a kid, I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, I was not allowed to watch rated R movies, nothing with boobs, nothing with F words, nothing crazy, but I was allowed to watch, this and Gremlins and all of this, all this stuff that's like pure nightmare fuel. And that's fine. Like you could have all this trauma, but don't you dare hear an F word. It's like, okay.
I mean, that's up to your parents though, because
Yeah,
they're giving
I
you
know,
these
they're
scary
demented.
movies to watch. So you're the one who's gonna get up in the middle of the night and being like, "I can't sleep. I'm
Mhm.
afraid." So
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, for years I was
they're
convinced
setting.
we had a dead guy on the wall. I was convinced of it.
Did you
Well, I
watch
think
what was that Stephen King one where they were like the people under the stairs? Were they living in the walls and stuff? Because the house
Yeah.
has those
hmm
like old houses had those hiding
All the
nooks
little
inside the
hidey
walls.
holes and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
that one must have freaked you out when you saw it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's kind of a thing with our generation. Like I've been watching like younger kids on YouTube talk about like kids films that are just trauma fuel, and
Yeah.
it's all stuff that I grew up on, man. It's all like Secret of Nim and Never Ending Story
Yeah.
and what's it, the one with the rabbits, Watership Down, you know what I mean? And
Oh
like now
God.
that I think about it, yeah, they are very traumatic stories, but like I don't know, I think that they're very strong and very powerful stories at the same time. But like that's just the thing with our generation, especially kids probably you and my age, Cookie. Joe's a
Yeah.
little older, but
No, they didn't dumb stuff down for us ever, I feel, which I appreciate. Everything
Yeah.
was everything was very serious.
I'm not sure about that, Chase. Like I think Goonies and Gate probably were being made at the same time. You know what I mean? It's kind of
It
like
came out in '87. So when did Goonies come out? Let's see. Goonies. Come on. Goonies came out in '85. So Goonies came out before this movie. So no.
okay.
So that wouldn't be it.
Yeah, Watership Down. It is a great film. You know what I mean? It's a great story, but like, yeah, like it probably isn't for young children.
No.
But I watch. I don't even know how young I was when I watched that for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, onto the Gate, man. Like this movie, I didn't remember. I just remember it being scary from the start. But like actually, like it only gets scary like in the last half. Like there's a good half of it that's kind of almost like a goofy teen '80s film with the sister having a party and the levitation and stuff like that. Yeah, some really awesome fashion going on in this movie. That's for
A
sure.
lot of hair crimping.
A lot of hair crimping, yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Both girls.
It is '87.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it was the style, yeah.
Yeah. And this must have been one of his earlier movies because one of the stars is Stephen Dorff, a young Stephen Dorff. So yeah, so that's what he looked like. You
Just a
mean
baby.
He looks exactly the same. I was waiting for him to whip out a
Yeah.
cigarette. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
I always
So
think of him
that's-
smoking.
Yes.
Yeah. So it stars
That's
Stephen
how he
Dorff.
lights the rocket,
Yeah. With his cigarette.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a lot of people might know him from his, like younger generations might know him more from what was the series he was in recently, a cop drama.
Oh, True Detective?
Oh yeah, he was in True
He was?
Detectives.
He's
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Mhm. I forgot he was on there.
yeah. I think that's the most recent thing I've seen him in. But he's been in what was that one where they buy a house out in the country and it was his family's house and he threatens with Dennis Quaid. Anyway, it used to be his house, but then bank foreclosed and they bought it. Then he
Oh,
goes and he's like the
yes.
caretaker kind of deal.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in that. I don't remember the name of that
I
movie,
don't
but he's
either.
he's
I
been
never
around.
saw it. I just remember
Yeah,
the trailers.
yeah, he's been around doing stuff.
Mhm.
So
I think what he's most iconic for is Deacon Frost in
Deacon
Blade.
Frost.
Blade,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of the younger people probably haven't seen that though. So.
I know.
It's that old. It must be close to 30 years old now, that movie.
Stop it.
Yeah,
No.
SFW. That's a good call there, Chase. Yeah.
What's SFW? I don't know.
It was like a '90s movie where he was. Oh man, I'm mixing it up with the Christian Slater one where he's the DJ. It's kind of like that though. It's like one of those.
What was the
Pump Up the Volume is the one I'm mixing.
Volume?
Is the one I'm mixing it up with, but it's pretty similar. It had like a really huge soundtrack. I mean, I haven't seen that movie since like 1994 when it came out. So
I'm gonna have to search it out. Sounds right up my alley.
And who was the director? You said, Johnny, of this.
His name is Tibor Takeas. I'm guessing is how you pronounce that.
Takesh, whatever. Okay. And
Something.
Michael Nankin is the writer. Let's see. Krista Denton plays the sister to Glenn, who is
Stephen Dorff.
Stephen Dorff's character. Then you have Terry, who is the little
metalhead kid. Yeah,
that's a little bit nerdy on the edges, around the edges.
Mm-hmm.
He's the metalhead kid. He
plays like D&D on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. Total
vibes.
like you were saying. Yeah, total Stranger Things vibes, right? You got the metal kid that's into D&D. Then you have Aya, or I don't know her name. What was her name? The sister?
Alexia,
Al?
but like that's called her Al.
Al. Well, her best friend, one of her best friends was an actress. Kelly Rowan plays Lori Lee. And I was like, the whole time I was watching, I was like, I recognize her, this character here, one of her best friends. And she's always getting into it with the brother, right? They have this kind of bickering and one-upping each other. And I was like, so I looked it up, and it's the mother from the OC, from the series OC. I was like, a lot older now, man. So it just goes to show, look.
So
this
like
movie is
now.
Look. This is it's 30-year-old. This movie, what 87?
Look at those bangs.
Yeah, look at that hair, dog.
I can't.
That's crazy. That was probably the more extreme hairdo in the movie, right there.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed when I was looking at the end credits is the father's last name is Denton too. So I was wondering if the dad and the girl that played Al were actually related.
Oh, probably.
It's very possible. Yeah, Scott Denton is the name of the father.
So that's kind of cool.
Maybe wait, I'll go on IMDb. I'll go check. Sometimes they have some trivia, that. So you guys can. So this is actually The Gate is a movie that Cookie recommended that we're supposed to do last year, like I said. So why do you love this movie so much, Cookie? Why is it hold a place dear and near in your heart?
I guess it's the trauma of it all. I don't know. I think this movie and Monster Squad were like my two absolute go-to movies as a kid. And I feel like they're both excellent gateways into horror without being like super scary, even though there's a lot of disturbing imagery in both movies. But I just love it, and it was constantly on all the time when I was a kid, and I liked that it scared me, but it was like a fun adventure, and it felt like something that would actually happen in my house, if that makes sense. like, it felt very real to me that because my brother was a nerd and he collected geodes, and and I would think like, oh, he got them from the backyard and the demons are coming, but it felt plausible to me. But yeah.
Well, and another neat thing about this is like a lot of 80s movies get joked on about how it's about kids and teenagers, but like it stars 40-year-olds. Like this
Mm,
movie and like Monster Squad, like it legit has kids in it. You know what I mean? Like so like
yeah.
it's kind of interesting to see because like I thought that was kind of only a new phenomenon. I almost forgot about like movies like this where like there were a few back in the day that actually did have young actors in it, and they all performed really well. Like I thought that this was cast superbly. I thought young Stephen Dorff had almost the same chops that he has nowadays. The sister was really convincing
Yes.
and really nice, even when she's kind of being snobby. Like she's never a total asshole. You know what I mean? I kind of like
Yeah.
that about her casting and the way she acted. And then the friend, like usually like the nerdy friend is kind of an asshole too. But Terry actually had a sweetness to him, even though like the dad kind of broke it down for Stephen Dorff that like he kind of had something bad happen to him last year, and that's kind of why he's a little bit of a weirdo. But you know what I mean? You just got to be nice to him.
Terry's the weird kid. Yeah.
And it's kind of nice, you know what I mean? They really don't make horror movies like this anymore. Like everybody's trying to make like these grand, profound horror films that have to have a message all the time, and it's like, no, man. Like have a movie where a kid kills a demon with a fucking rocket, man. Just do
Yes.
it. Like you can have that, and it'll still be good. You know what I mean? You can. Like
Mhm.
I'm not taking anything away. Like every now and then, one of those grand, profound horror films are actually really good and live up to the hype. But a lot of times they don't, you know what I mean? And I kind of miss like the dumb fun horror of the 80s. And if you're like that, man, this is a good one to just go ahead and pick up and check out. Like I said last night on Phono, it's free on Plex and on the CW streaming network. I'm pretty sure you'd probably have to watch ads on both of those, but
Yeah.
it's worth it, man. And like it'll remind you of like if you're my age, it'll remind you of actually watching it on TV when it would air back then. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes. They
Like,
line up those commercial breaks perfectly with the fade in and out. It's great. No, I watched it on Tubi. It's free on Tubi also.
oh, is it
Oh,
on Tubi as well?
Yeah.
yeah. 80s movies, I think for horror, I think you had a lot of stuff coming out. And I think it was the height of like, a
Practical
lot
effects,
of
man.
practical effects. Yeah. A lot of stuff got pioneered during the 80s where they had limited budgets. They had to get really creative with how they did a lot of these effects. And I think a lot of things that are still used today came out of just what's the saying? Necessity is the mother of all creations. Or
Mm,
anyway, so when you're working with a limited budget, you got to get creative and try to make the most out of it. And like you said, the effects and stuff in this, you watch it now. Obviously, it's gonna be dated because it was from '87,
yeah.
and I don't think this movie had a huge budget, but I mean, it's fun nonetheless. The little demon creatures, they're minuscule, and it's like I think they use the same kind of techniques on Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, stop
Where,
Yeah.
though.
yeah. So they have them all dressed in little, I don't know, people dressed in it, and then they kind of and so some of it is little,
Perspective play, you know.
yeah, some of it is like dolls, and other times it's people in costumes. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just fun. It's fun to see it, and
Yeah.
Well, another funny thing about those little monsters is if you pay attention, Terry's back patch says "killer dwarfs," and then
It
the whole
does.
last half of the film, they're being chased around by
Oh
little funny
my
monsters. So
god.
I always thought that was funny.
that's actually
Oh, that's so funny.
a band from the '80s from Ontario.
Okay, so it's a
Killer
legit.
Doors. It's an actual band. Yeah.
Was this filmed in Ontario? I'm curious.
I think so because the actor, the father, he's Canadian. The girl from the OC, she's a Canadian actress, so it was probably
Mhm.
filmed in Toronto. So they got a lot of Canadian actors probably to come in and do some of the more minor roles.
And it's cheap to shoot up there too. All you got to do is
Yeah.
like you got to hire 75% Canadians to shoot up there.
I don't know if there's any laws like that or anything.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
back then there was. I don't know if it still
no,
exists.
it's still like that. It's
Yeah.
cheaper to shoot up there, but you have to cast, and like the crew has to be like I think 65 or 75% from Canada.
Mhm.
Small price to pay, in my opinion.
Oh, like near when you cross a bridge into Montreal, you have a lot with all the sound stages and stuff. So you see, it's called Mel's. Then you have Studio 1, Studio 2. Sometimes they throw huge parties in there at times when it's not being used for movies. Yeah, so when you're driving down the highway, you can see the big sound studios, the lots there and
That's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, because a lot of, like Johnny said, a lot of stuff. What was the one where the heads explode?
Scanners.
Scanners. That was filmed in Toronto and Montreal.
Yeah, all of most of Cronenberg's stuff is because he's a Canuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, there's scenes you were watching. I was watching it. What was it last year? I think I was rewatching. I was like, that hasn't like since that was what 70, late 70s, early 80s.
1981, I believe.
81
came out.
And there's this one scene where they're like, because it's going down into the subway system. I was like, that hasn't changed since that movie was filmed. It's still identically the same. Like, I mean, they need to give it a facelift. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think I'd ever truly sat down and watched this movie from start to finish. I've always, throughout the years, caught bits and pieces here and there. And, you know, like the popular stuff were the monsters, right? So, like, wherever I'd be, then all of a sudden you'd maybe I just paid more attention once the monsters were on the screen. And then, like, it caught my attention. Because I remember seeing those monsters everywhere. Like, you know, like clips. People would talk about, like, culty movies that have a cult following. Then this would come up. And, yeah, with the little... I don't even... They're supposed to be demons, right? Not goblins or...
Yeah, they're supposed to be little little messenger demons. That's how I always thought of them. Like
they're almost like shapeshifters, really, because
yeah, they turn into the man in the wall.
Yeah, because when they morph together, they can transform into anything like that they want. It's funny. Individually they can't, but when they come like and morph together, then they can take on the form of when Terry at the end, remember when he bites Teddy? Is that his name? No.
Glenn?
Glenn. When he bites Glenn, remember, because they pull him away?
Yeah.
Is that
Save
him?
me, Glenn.
Is that him, or is it the monsters making themselves look like him?
Good call, but it might be him because remember he was taken away and he was the first sacrifice to
I always assumed he was like a possessed Terry.
He was possessed.
Kind of,
okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Wasn't sure, but then you had the guy in the wall where, what does she throw at him? A boombox?
Yes.
Hits him in the forehead, and when he falls, and it kind of splatters into all the little demon creatures. And it's funny on that scene because then they're all confused, right? They're like running around. And it's so funny because you don't have, like, now when actors interact with like green screens or, you know, they have the dots to interact with.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, I don't think it was as sophisticated. So you see, like, the interactions are kind of...
They're just screaming at nothing.
Right? Yeah, and then all of a sudden... and then, like, the little creatures are just running around, not exactly interacting with Glenn and his sister. So I was cracking up at that scene. I love that scene. It was so
love
funny.
it.
Then when they go out the door, then it's like, oh, then they start charging the door. It was like, yeah.
Now, those little guys always scared me so much when I was a kid because it's like either like one demon you can kind of convince yourself that maybe you could take it on, but when it's like 15 of them running at you, you're like, no, I can't do this.
Well, when Glenn falls down, when Terry falls down, then they start gnawing on him a little bit there. Then you're like, oh crap, it's like before they're just like kind of threatening. You're like, just kick him away, or then when he's down there and they all start jumping on him and
rat packing him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then you're like, oh, but it's a good design. It's creepy, you know.
Yeah,
like the hairless kind of slimy looking skin, and it's a good design. That was in the 80s. There was a lot of that, like the hairless creatures, like gremlins. What were the toilet ones?
Ghoulies.
Yes. Yeah. Ghoulies.
Actually, the ghoulies look a lot like the monsters,
the
little demons in this. So
yeah. Then you had hairy ones like critters, but a lot of most of them were like the hairless kind of looking slimy. You know,
they all started with the same demon face.
Yeah. So, yeah. So yeah, man, 80s movies. This is 87, so right at the tail end, but like Gremlins came out in what, 80?
Man,
Is it 85?
85? Yeah, I was thinking 84, 85.
I just remember them
Gremlins.
both being around my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. 84. Yeah, Gremlins came out in 84. So,
84.
so yeah, the mid 80s there, you had a good chunk of movies coming out. Yeah, and what was that zombie creature in Return of the Living Dead? He was gross too. He was like slimy.
Tarman?
Yeah,
the bulky
Tarman.
eye?
Yeah, Tarman, exactly. He was gross.
Yes.
He was scary. Like, as cheesy as that movie is at times, that Tarman character, I mean, to this day, I mean, try to find a scarier design for a creature than in Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85. That was in 85. Yeah.
I don't know, like the one that there is one that I can think of, and it's the main one that you always see for Lucio Fulci's zombie, the one with the worms coming out of its eye. Yeah, he's disgusting, bro.
But did he actually take like something rotting and take real maggots and stuff? You know, of course that's gonna be pretty gross.
I don't know, like I'm pretty sure it was a guy in a suit for the most part, but like yeah, they were real worms. I'm pretty sure they were wiggling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was 77. Yeah. A little bit before.
Way ahead of its time.
But like yeah, like you said, like that, like some of the matte painting and the matting with the creatures and the humans didn't like quite line up. But I still prefer it to CGI, man, because there's so much artistry and so much time put into matte painting and keying it all together.
And it's fun because you have all these people in costume, right? And it's not like super choreographed, like, okay, act this way. So it's so sporadic and chaotic. It's just so funny. Like seeing them running around and jumping around, and a lot of these people in these suits aren't really actors either. So you get some pretty funny performances from some of the
wild motions.
Yeah.
And another thing that I liked about this, man, is it kind of always played on whether like it was a nightmare or if it really is happening, like on that phantasm type level. Because like the movie starts out really creepy with Glenn having that nightmare coming home and nobody being there, and then him going up into the treehouse and it getting struck by lightning, and then he wakes up and the treehouse is knocked over, and so like I like movies that kind of play on that type of plane. You know what I mean? Is it a dream? Is it real? Like.
And they kept lulling you into like a false sense of it's over, everything's going to be fine. And then it's not fine at all. So I like that.
Well, one thing is like Loverboy, who decided to throw the dog down the hole, find him and kick his ass because he's the one that like completed the spell.
It's all his fault.
Pretty much, yeah. All the rest of it could have been avoided.
Because the dog does come back at the end, right?
I know. Yay for Angus.
Yeah. He was 97 in dog years.
That got me, that scene with the dog and he's dead. And I was like,
I know. No, when he brought him to the animal control place, and then like they you see the dog in the seat and his eyes are open, and I'm like, no, just leave the dog alone. Jesus.
No vacancies, bud.
Oh no!
What a dingleberry, man.
He was awful. He was absolutely awful. Alex could have done so much better.
And I think this is where my problem with runtimes come from. Is because I got so used to watching movies from like the 80s where they had
90 minutes.
90 minutes. Like it was a strict runtime, right? So you trimmed a lot of the fat in these movies. Like, so it was the pacing, like they don't have time to like, they have to get to the point to get the story moving. And I think that's what I really appreciate about a lot of these older movies is telling that story in 90 minutes. And,
they left a little fat on the bone though with the, like I said, the first half is kind of like, a teen, like comedy-ish. And then then it kind of really gets into the horror. And I didn't mind any of it, even though I'm an older guy now. I still thought that the teen stuff was kind of funny, like especially the party scene was pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where the one girl that acted like she knew everything. Well, like you can actually levitate, and like they pull it off with Glenn, and like flips her on. And she's just like, okay, I'm never gonna do that again. Like it's pretty funny in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Like just the opening scene, and a lot of '80s movies really they open up with like that great like
Tension.
they don't.
That
Yeah,
opening scene
exactly.
had great tension, man.
Yeah, tension. You know, right away they open it up, and you're like, oh, you know, like they don't start you off slow. Right away they get you on edge right from the beginning, right, with that dream sequence and everything. So then they kind of ease out of it a little bit, and it kind of sets the stage, right? You know, that tree that they pulled out, that's the root of, no pun intended, of all the problems, right, from his dream.
The root
and
of all
then
evil.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so you know, it's kind of like I think Poltergeist uses a lot of those same like dreams to reality tropes and stuff like that, which is I think pretty effective, especially on a movie where maybe you have a limited budget. You know, you got to go that way, and like you said, you don't, like Johnny said, you don't know, is it real? Is it a dream? Like when Terry, you know, where is it his mom? He's dancing with his mom.
Yeah.
Then, but it's the dead dog, and then you wake up and you're like, was it a dream? Was it like what's going on? You know, like yeah. And that was a pretty sad scene too, because it incorporates his passed away mother with the dead dog, and I'm like, oh man, you're just laying it on thick now.
Double whammy. It was horrible.
Yeah, double whammy right there. Yeah, it's like, oh man. And then you see the father doesn't handle that very well either, because when Terry goes back home, you see the kind of living situation he's in.
Yeah.
But his room is pretty much a typical teenage boy's 90s bedroom, 80s, 90s bedroom, with all the rock posters, like almost wallpapered, right? From ceiling to floor, you know? And that's the thing, kids aren't, I feel bad for kids now, like, because we had magazines, and the good magazines always had that centerfold poster that you could open the freaking staples, pull it out, and you could put those up on your wall in the magazines, and a lot of splash pages, so you could just cut out a single page and put, paste the. Like, how do kids decorate their rooms now?
They don't. Like, when I watch streamers and stuff, even like rock streamers that like are doing music, like they might have like actual posters, but like usually their walls are bare. Like like a lot of rooms just look boring nowadays when I see like streamers and stuff, and I'm just kind of like,
they're minimalists. Yeah,
just kind of like.
Well, I guess now they're used to like filters and shit, so it's all like not real stuff. Like they just add filters to their pictures and stuff, or I don't know. Like everything is.
You could green screen posters up if you wanted to, I guess. Yeah,
that's it. A lot of these, like I think even with us, we could do a green screen and just put a picture in the background if we wanted to. I think there's a setting for that when you're streaming and stuff. But I mean, I think that's the thing. They're all in their phones, right? So they rarely lift their head up to look around their room anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter.
Damn kids.
Yeah. I feel bad though. They have no physical media anymore. Like everything's streamed. Their music is streamed. Photos are on their phone. It's all digital. Man. Like there's something about just grabbing the old shoebox out and going through old pictures, And
what happens if you open a gateway to hell? You can't play the record backwards to fucking learn the spell to close it back up.
Well, you'd have to try to find an app that'll play the song backwards, and then it'll be in halfway through the song. You'll get an ad pop up like, "Oh, here the monsters are coming to get you." God damn it! I should have paid for the premium ad free.
That's another thing I kind of liked about this movie is like you kind of think that it's going to play into like the satanic panic with metal, but like actually the metal band is the one that tells them how to close the gate to hell.
Yeah,
which is kind of backwards. So that's kind of another neat thing about this flick. Didn't really play into that bullshit too much.
I'd have to check, but it might have been the the band, the actual band that his jacket was, because that band was known for having like a humorous side to them, like having songs that were kind of on the slapsticky, funny side, like metal, but with a humorous twist to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're the ones who made the actual song for the movie. The what was it, Killer Dwarves or
Killer Dwarves? Yeah, the actual metal song that he's listening to when he's in his room.
Yeah. I'd have to look into it, but
I wonder.
I could look really quick.
You'll research, Joe. We need to know.
Killer. I'll look it up. I'll Google it. That's one thing I have to say. Google is awesome. Like, I mean, that's one thing the kids.
These kids are living.
They're lucky for that. That's the one thing I'll give them. They're lucky that they have Google, because we didn't have Google, and god damn it.
Yeah, you had to look through encyclopedias if you wanted to learn shit, and it was not fast.
Oh no. And sometimes you just be like, I guess I gotta live with the fact I'll never know this. Yeah. You know, like I'll never know.
Yeah. I'll make up my own story about it, you know, which most of us did anyways, even if we looked it up and didn't like what we found.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were gonna double feature this with something, Cookie, like what would you pick? Like what would you think would be a good?
Oh, Monster Squad, absolutely.
Monster Squad.
Yeah, I think those two movies back to back are just superb.
Probably do Monster Squad second to cool the jets after the gate, after scaring the hell out of the kids.
Yes, yeah. Be like, okay, now we're gonna put on something fun.
Straight up.
Less trauma.
I'm thinking.
How about you?
I would probably put on Waxworks with this. Skewed a little older, but like the same kind of humor, the same kind of effects. Did you ever see the Waxworks?
I've never seen that.
Funny enough, it has the same star as Gremlins. Billy from Gremlins is like the main guy. He's like this yuppie, and like him and his yuppie friends. It also has Bobby from Twin Peaks is in it. He's like his best friend, and like them and their dates, they go to like this Waxworks museum that opens up in their neighborhood, and like basically like this occult guy, he like used like the actual, I don't know how, but like the actual Waxworks would come alive and eat you if you went into the exhibits. It's a really corny, really fun horror film from the 80s.
Familiar.
Yeah, Waxworks and Waxworks.
I feel like I probably would have seen this on like USA Up All Night or something.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely on there a lot.
Definitely.
This is Gilbert Godfrey with the USA Up All Night. This is Waxworks. Yeah. Yeah, man. You know,
oh my God, this is my childhood. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah, Joe?
Was released the song "The Seven Gates of Hell" in 1984. Was a B-side of their Warheads single. Venom is the band that did the song.
Okay. Well, Venom was actually like in the first scene, like Terry had their back patch, and they have Venom's actually like a legit black metal. That's funny that they got them to do such a kind of like lightweight movie. Well, I mean, like they weren't really into like Satanism or anything. Like they just put it on because for the band's sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like their music, their lyrics were really raunchy. I have quite a few of their albums, and the imagery that they invoke is not soft. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was Venom. So
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would I pair this one with? I don't know. It's hard. Like, I don't know. I think it could go well with almost any 80s movie, but maybe seeing as how it's little demon creatures that are Cat's Eye or whatever it is with
Yes,
I'd probably,
that's a good call.
I'd probably pair it with that one because you got a little creature that comes out of the wall. So I'd probably do it.
Very similar design, yeah, with the little goblin guy from Cat's Eye.
Except the little goblin guy, he had that like more of like a trolley kind of with a big nose.
Yeah.
I mean, less demon, more goblin looking. The other one from Cat's Eye.
But he still had the crazy teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With the little knife, the little knife to stab. Yeah, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Was that its own movie, or was that part of like a Stephen King anthology?
It was an anthology. There was 3 parts. There was the one with James Woods where he's trying to quit smoking.
Yes.
Then the middle one was the guy had to walk around the ledge of the building.
Yes, I remember we talked about it last year, but I couldn't remember if it. Okay, yeah. Now
And
it
then
all
the
makes
third
sense.
one was
That's
with-
the quitting smoking. Yeah. Was the James Woods? Yeah, and what was the other one?
Mm-hmm.
The building and
then the third one was with Drew Barrymore with the little.
so it was the
goblin
three.
guy.
Those were
Yeah,
the
just-
three.
Yeah, just a three like story anthology.
Cool.
And like it all kind of tied together with the cat trying to get to
That's
Drew
true. It made-
Barrymore.
the
There's
cat
a
made
cat-
a small appearance in each one leading up to that final one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was in they were experimenting, right? And they had the cat for James Woods to show him when he'd get shocked. They shocked
Yeah,
the cat, right?
They
Mhm.
threw him in the little electric room that they put his wife in. Like the next time.
That's it. Yeah, that's what it was. Poor cat.
Yeah. Oh, I was laughing about the wife, but yeah.
Yeah, but I meant that scene, like poor cat, like and back
Yeah.
then, I mean, they weren't as strict, right? So who knows what they were doing to make that cat jump around, right?
They still had animal cruelty free movies by that time. Like they started that in the 70s after the Italian films.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, those Italians.
Those
Yeah,
Italians.
Yeah, like Cannibal Holocaust and those with the
Yeah,
straight up animal abuse in them.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
turtle killing, I think.
Yeah, they had the turtle,
was
a monkey,
absolutely
and
disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talk
Those
about
crazy
trauma.
Italians.
That's trauma. Freaking Italians.
So I don't know how they got that cat to jump like that for the scene, but like they weren't really shocking it, like
No.
Cat's Eye.
Maybe a little like
Probably a string toy or something.
or just like poppers so that it makes the sound so it startles the cat and it jumps.
That's still cruel.
Yeah.
But you're not hurting the cat, you're just scaring it.
It was not nice.
Well, it's no different than people making those TikTok videos where they put a cucumber beside their cat or aluminum foil on their
Well,
counters
I don't like
and the
that
cat
either.
jumps up. I think it's hilarious.
It's like,
One-
Jesus, let your cat eat in peace, savages.
one-
None
the
of
one
those
thing-
things work for me though. I put the cucumber beside our cats and they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing I do is like when they're trying to sneak by me, I slide my foot like really gently, and that I get to jump out of them that way. Just a little foot slide.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get you.
Yeah. So
yeah,
any closing remarks on this thing?
I'm just gonna rate it, man. I give it a solid 4 out of 5, man. Like it's it's a must watch still to this day, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like you're looking for something cool, fun, and kind of cute to watch for Halloween. Like you can't do much better than this, in my opinion.
And they not just that, but the cast are actual 14 or 15-year-olds playing 15-year-olds. It wasn't like hiring a 25-year-old to play 15-year-olds. So
Mhm.
I think the sister was 14, or no, she was 15 playing a 15-year-old, and Stephen Dorff was 14. And in the movie, I think he's 12 years old in the movie. So
Well, he looked 8. I didn't even know he was that old.
Oh my
I know.
God. I
It's
thought he was
supposed to be
8.
14. I just read it in the trivia on IMDb. 14.
Wow.
He does look a lot younger than her, and
He's
she's
still-
15.
He's still got the baby. He's still got the baby fat on his face. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
the chubby cheeks.
I looked a lot like him when I was that age. The same haircut and everything. It was horrible.
Well, all the boys had that haircut.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any pictures kicking around, but
Oh my
I was
God.
watching it. I was like, oh my God, it looks like just like those family photos you had, where you put the tears and like do the family photos and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, it looks like all me from when I was that age and the family
Yeah.
photos we had on the walls.
It was like me with all the girls with the crimped hair. I was like, oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fake curls, man.
And one thing that's very interesting is this movie, like a lot of movies in the 80s, because of the budget, takes place in a single location. Like
Yeah.
Exorcist, Poltergeist, this one. Like a lot of the lower budget movies all seem they write a story that takes place in a single location, and I think you have to be pretty good to pull a story off and make it fun and interesting if it's just in one location, so
Yeah.
so they did a good job.
You're right. I didn't even notice this was a submarine film, but it totally was.
Yeah,
man.
the only time they left is when Terry goes home for that one
Yeah.
brief little scene. That's the only time where they leave that house. But it's very
It could be the same house.
a 10-minute
Or-
scene. Yeah,
Or when Daddy Douchebag takes the dog to the animal shelter.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Daddy douchebag.
What else could you call that guy, man? Like,
No, that's true.
I'd give it.
It works.
Johnny was rating it. I'd probably give it like what you gave it a 4. I'd give it a 3.5, probably out of 5s. So like a solid 7 on 10. Pretty good. Pretty good. The acting for their age, I thought the actors did a great job because they're not like 25-year-olds, that have maybe done this probably all of their first roles, and I thought they did a pretty good job with the acting. All of the kids in this.
No, I especially like at the end where like you're watching Glenn like overcome his fears, and because at first when he sees this giant demon, he's scared and he's like hunched on the floor and he's hiding his face, and then he has to get through it and get a rocket in him. It was good. It was good.
the eyeball in his hand, man, and he's like straight stabs his own hand. He's a hardcore little kid, man.
He is. He wasn't fucking around. He's like, "Argh."
That eyeball in the hand creeped me out too. That was another thing that really
Yeah.
got to me when I was little.
I'm telling you, the effects in this movie are great. Horrifying.
It's hard to beat practical effects when they're done well.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like it.
So what would you rate it, Cookie?
I give it a 5 out of 5. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's not just the nostalgia talking, like it holds up really well.
And I gotta hand it to them. Fantastic logo design for the movie, like the gate, the way it's written. The poster's great with the gate with the creature reaching out, like from because they come from that hole, so he's reaching out. Like great poster, great design. Like gotta hand it to them for that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And it's fun
Pretty
for the
good
whole
stuff.
family.
I think so. Yeah, you could like.
Traumatize your children. Yeah.
I think a 10-year-old could watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. With it might be a few little intense parts for them, but nothing too crazy. But I think you could easily let a 10-year-old watch this with.
It's how you harden them up.
Yeah. Maybe do it during the day. Don't let them watch it at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like right before going to bed is probably not the best idea, but
Well, one thing that I miss is actually being scared of scary movies. It doesn't happen anymore. That's why I kind of got lost and watched a bunch of stuff I never should have because I wanted to be scared again. You know what I mean? And like it's just impossible to go back to that. And like I miss it. Like in a weird way, it was like actually fun to be terrified of shit when I was a little kid. You know what I mean?
Where the fear would like stay with you for days. Yeah.
Yeah, you were legit like we're afraid to go to sleep. It's like, oh my god, my dad's gonna melt.
It's true though. It's extremely rare nowadays to get a movie that'll do that.
Well, I mean, I still get like tingles down my spine, but like nothing that'll actually put the shits into me. You know what I mean? And like, and I think like it might be fun. You know what I mean? Like traumatize your kids, but like in doses. You know what I mean? Because like being scared is actually fun, and it like in a weird way. If you're a masochist like me, it's something that you're gonna grow up and miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely.
So yeah, I mean, like this thing's available several places for free. So if you guys want to watch it, please do. You know what I mean? Like this is great film, and I don't hear it get talked about as much as like slashers from like the same time period. And I think it's because it's a monster film, and like I don't know why monster films don't get the same respect slashers do.
Maybe because the effects like don't age as well as a slasher movie is more like knives, blood, so you probably don't notice the effects aging as much. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
Because practical effects have come a long way since then as well, right? Like, I mean, so maybe that's why. But I mean, if you go in knowing that it's 87, you can't expect it to be like And it's a lower budget movie too, so it didn't have as big of a budget as, let's say, Gremlins or what was another monster movie from around then that had a big budget.
Probably even Critters, but like they were smart. They used actually puppets really more than stop go or animatronics. So like they kind of had that going for them with that one.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we should do a Critters one. Maybe we should add that to the list of movies. Do a double feature Critters with something else.
Yeah,
Critters and Ghoulies.
Ghoulies, yeah. I think those were out around the same time, so we could do a Ghoulies Critter double feature. Which one? Which Critters?
The first one.
First one? Okay.
I mean, like the first three are really good. Are all very watchable, but like the first one is the best one in my opinion.
Which is the one with DiCaprio?
Part 3.
Part 3. Okay.
Yeah.
DiCaprio was in a Critters movie?
It was his first feature film.
Yeah, he was the kid whose dad was going to buy their apartment complex and level it. In part 3.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, Critters 3. Yeah, DiCaprio's first feature film was Critters 3. Yeah.
Is there like a Critters in Space movie?
Yeah, that's part 4. That's the one that you should.
Well, that's where they come from, right?
I think that's the only one I've seen.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
No, I don't think I've seen the first one.
You love the first two.
One. Yeah,
the first two are great. 3 is okay, but the first 2 are fantastic. Because the second one is where they get the centerfold, right?
Yeah, that's where she got the giant staple in her belt.
Yeah. So it's great. Yeah. Because then the second one, the aliens, because critters are little alien creatures, you have the hunters that hunt them that come to Earth in the second one to help eradicate them from Earth.
They were in the first one too.
They were in the first one too? It's been a while. I'll have to rewatch them. I watched them religiously when I was a kid, like once a week, like for a good span of time. So I'll have to rewatch them. I don't know if it's on Tubi or where you can find it, but we'll have to watch that and we'll add it to the list of movies.
You'll like it a lot. I think, Cookie. It's a lot like The Gate. It all takes place in one location. Really cool little monsters.
It's got some humor. It's got some serious scares too. Like there's a few scary, intense moments. Yeah,
like intense moments.
Where it goes into his zippers down and they go blop, 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 into his pants. That scene is hilarious.
Oh my god!
Because they turn into a ball and they roll around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the one where they make the giant ball. That's
in part 2. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in part 2 where they do that for the first time, right?
It's one of the first 2. Yeah. I think it's the second one. It's great. It's got some fantastic scenes in it. So
okay.
And did you watch? What's the one there with the Nicolas Cage? Where we're like, oh, they definitely took that from Critters.
Oh, that was Arcadian. Yeah,
Arcadian.
Where they
that scene at the end. Yeah, I was like, this guy totally loved Critters too, because that's so like Critters.
Yeah, they turn into that giant wheel.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch that yet, Arcadian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's definitely that guy. I'm sure the director or the person who wrote the movie definitely watched Critters as a kid.
Oh, he loved 80s horror period.
Yeah. So, well, that's one we could probably add to a list as a. Let's do a. Anyway.
Hey, Pete, Halloween, Arcade Love Halloween special. Even though that's kind of like not really a Cage movie, but like he is in it.
And I think he's a producer, right? He's a producer of it as well, isn't he?
Probably. A lot of films that he does have a producer credit in nowadays. So
we could do a Caged Love spooky season special. We'd do that one, and what would the other one be? Probably Mandy.
Oh man, he's done quite a few horror.
That's a satanic one. We already did Wonka or what Willy's Wonderland. We already did that one,
and we did Color Out of Space already too.
And I won't ask you guys to do Long Legs. So
we could do Long Legs.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it. I hate it. I just didn't think it was as great as everyone made it out to be.
Yeah, I mean it's got its great scenes like. The weird guy's here again. That's probably my favorite part.
I love that part.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a Cage Love. Maybe we'll do it near the end of October at some point, but we can do that.
Yeah.
So what two movies are we gonna do? Long Legs, and what would the other one be?
And Arcadian, right?
Arcadian.
Arcadian?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
do those two for the Caged Love Spooky Season Special. There we go.
Yay.
Haven't done one in a while, so it'll
I
be fun.
know.
Yeah.
Getting the itch.
Yeah. Cool. So that was our first one of the month. The Gate. Definitely a fun. If you enjoy 80s movies, 80 horror flicks, especially
80s
teenage
nostalgia.
like teenage 80s horror flicks. This is definitely like if you're a fan of Stranger Things, this will definitely scratch that itch as well.
The Duffer Brothers totally ripped this off. It's one of the things that they had to have liked. You know what I mean? Just because of some of the dynamics between the characters and stuff that played out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see the parallels between the two for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So our next episode, are we doing something in between this and
Saturday?
Saturday,
Luther Strode Saturday.
Luther Strode's on Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll figure out next week.
We're going to be doing Salem's Lot on Saturday next week, right?
Yeah, the following Saturday we'll be doing
we'll
Salem's Lot.
We'll have something earlier in the week too, though, for you guys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll figure something out. We'll probably do another comic.
Yeah, maybe like because we're going to do the first 10 issues of Immortal Hulk. That might be something fun to take on. You know, like on a Tuesday. You actually do Big Tuesday on Tuesday if we can.
Yeah. Or if that doesn't work out, we have the Hellboys. I've read those already. Those are all read.
Definitely.
So if we want to, it depends if we want to do a longer episode or a quicker episode. We'll figure it out. But more than likely, we'll do comics on Tuesdays because Juan isn't available and he's not as big of a comic reader. And we'll keep like Thursdays and Saturdays open for movies and stuff, so Juan can hop on. So I know he's usually doing his skateboard get-togethers on
skate
Tuesday.
night stuff. Yeah.
So, and I know he wanted to participate as much as possible, so we'll try to we'll do that. We'll try to keep a lot of the comic stuff for Tuesday nights, and then if we can do the movies. So he's already down for next Saturday. So
yeah, Salem's Lot. That should be a lot of fun. We had a friend who got an early screener, and she said that it's pretty fun. You know what I mean? A lot like the movie we talked about tonight. So, like, and I absolutely love the old miniseries for Salem's Lot. I'm hoping that they don't make the vampire look too cool because I like the cheesy old Nosferatu looking vampire from the old miniseries. So.
Yeah.
I know the actor. I think that because I watched just the beginning a little bit just to see kind of the tone and stuff. And what was Run Sweetheart? Have you seen that? Run Sweetheart?
Mm-mm.
The actor. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Salem's Lot anyway.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, so it doesn't matter.
Save it for the show, Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us then. We're going to be talking about something a little more relevant to the time, but still, you know, good fun monster cheese film from what I understand. So yeah, we'll see you guys then. Oh, and we'll see you Saturday actually before that.
Luther Strode. Yeah, exactly.
Luther Strode. Yeah, we're going to be talking about all 3 arcs of that bad boy. So see you then.